So I was requested by one of the viewers to play Line Rider, but using the second beta, and essentially it's a very, very old version of Line Rider, and I've never touched it before, so this is actually kind of new for me. Uh, when I first looked at it, I first noticed that a lot of the graphics are different. It seems a lot of the things are a lot older. The scarf is different, stuff like that. Uh, a lot of the tools seems to be also missing, or like they just haven't been implemented yet, which includes like you can't just pause midway through the video and through the track and stuff. So that was a big issue. um Second big issue was that there's no control Z or control shift Z to undo and redo, so that's a bit of an issue, which will come later into the track. uh It was incredibly difficult to actually work around with, but I eventually came up with some ideas. It took me like several hours to actually come up with anything, but eventually, what you're seeing in front of your screens is the final result of a lot of planning. So I decided to just stick with a very, very short track that's just um, essentially just nose manual, and that's it. Uh, I essentially came up with the idea of using the flag tool, which I've never used that often before, other than for recording in modern versions of Line Rider. But now it actually is incredibly useful because I don't actually want to play from the beginning, and it's incredibly annoying to actually have to play from the beginning, which I may or may not have actually accidentally turned off the flag multiple times in this video, which gets me a little bit frustrated, but I push myself through. So what you're seeing right now is the completed bare track, and it's kind of boring. Also, later in the track, you will realize that uh, it the ending will actually be slightly different because, as I mentioned before, there's no undo and redo. So essentially, I had to uh, remake the ending because I accidentally deleted one of the lines, so it screwed up the stall position. But I resulted in a pretty cool stall, at least. So right now you're seeing me trying to scene stuff. The beginning, actually, I forgot to start recording again, so I kind of screwed up there. So you actually are seeing kind of like the midway through process, but you didn't really miss that much. There was a lot of planning, trying to go through, like thinking about what supports I should make and stuff like that. But I ended up coming up with just a diamond shape with a plus sign in the middle, and then like cables running through. So essentially, like similar to my like rail and cave slash rocky terrain style, with some of my iconic trees, obviously. So there you go. I messed it up by accident. So I had to redo it, and eventually I got to the end and I added a couple trees, and I somehow managed to finalize everything with a pretty round number of like 500 lines. So that was pretty nice. I don't know. It was kind of troubling, but also nice to see how I was able to still like work with the game. It wasn't too difficult to work with. Like some tools, such as like the angle snapping tools, were gone, so I couldn't like exactly draw horizontal and vertical lines very easily, and that's kind of a big issue because of the fact that my trees are pretty much relying on horizontal and vertical lines, but I got through it into the end. It just took a lot of fiddling and stuff, and you probably can see some of the imperfections in the trees. So here's the final track, and as you can see, it's pretty short, but I am pretty happy with what came out. So I think that pretty much concludes this entire video. I hope everybody enjoyed, and like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you want to actually see more videos like this. And if you want, you can request more challenges for me, even though I probably won't do any more of these if it ends up being too difficult. Song requests, please just I will do them one day, but they're a bit difficult for me to actually deal with just because of the fact that I usually make tracks that are synced to songs because I actually enjoy the song, or I have a lot of passion to put into this track or something like that, rather than just a request. I have been able to finish a couple of requests on my channel, but I don't really want to do it just like straight out by request anymore. Most of my tracks will probably just be me purely wanting to do it, and not like because somebody else wants me to do it. So apologies if I actually don't fulfill one of your requests. But I am going to be releasing a couple of tracks that I have finished and were requested by some people, but if your track isn't there, then I apologize. But that's about it. I dragged on this outro for far longer than I really had to. But Happy New Year's, guys. And have a nice day.